Welcome to Reagan and Friends, a podcast series hosted by the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute. Each month we will share some behind-the-scenes moments and stories of President Reagan with some of his more famous friends.
May we give thanks for an America abundantly blessed, for a nation united, free, and at peace. May we carry forward the happiness of the Christmas spirit as the guiding star of our endeavors 365 days a year. And as we light this magnificent tree, may all the youthful hope and joy of America light up the heavens and make the angels sing.
Happy holidays to one and all. Do you know the history of Santa Claus? Santa Claus, otherwise known as St. Nicholas or Kris Kringle, has a long history steeped in Christmas traditions. Today, he is thought of mainly as the jolly man in red who brings toys to good girls and boys on Christmas Eve. But his story stretches all the way back to the 3rd century, when St. Nicholas walked the earth and became the patron saint of children. The legend of Santa Claus can be traced back hundreds of years to a monk named St. Nicholas. It is believed that Nicholas was born sometime around 280 AD in Patera, near Myra, in modern-day Turkey. Much admired for his piety and kindness, St. Nicholas became the subject of many legends. It is said that he gave away all of his inherited wealth and traveled the countryside helping the poor and sick. St. Nicholas made his first inroads into American popular culture towards the end of the 18th century. In December 1773 and again in 1774, a New York newspaper reported that groups of Dutch families had gathered to honor the anniversary of his death. The name Santa Claus evolved from Nicholas's Dutch nickname, Sinterklaas, a shortened form of Sint Nicholas, Dutch for St. Nicholas. In 1804, John Pintard, a member of the New York Historical Society, distributed woodcuts of St. Nicholas at the Society's annual meeting. The background of the engraving contains now familiar Santa images, including stockings filled with toys and fruit hung over a fireplace. In 1809, Washington Irving helped to popularize the Sinterklaas stories when he referred to St. Nicholas as the patron saint of New York in his book, The History of New York. By the 1840s, newspapers were creating separate sections for holiday advertisements, which often featured images of the newly popular Santa Claus. In 1841, thousands of children visited a Philadelphia shop to see a life-size Santa Claus model. It was only a matter of time before stores began to attract children and their parents with the lure of a peek at a live Santa Claus. In the early 1890s, the Salvation Army needed money to pay for the free Christmas meals they provided to needy families. They began dressing up unemployed men in Santa Claus suits and sending them into the streets of New York to solicit donations. Those familiar Salvation Army Santas have been ringing bells on the street corners of American cities ever since. Perhaps the most iconic department store Santa is Kris Kringle in the 1947 classic Santa Claus movie, Miracle on 34th Street. A young Natalie Wood played a little girl who believes Kris Kringle when he says he is the real Santa Claus. Flash forward to 1981 and the Reagan White House. President and Mrs. Reagan had many friends, and of course, Santa Claus was among them. When Santa was too busy to attend a White House Christmas party, many of the Reagans' famous friends filled in for him. Throughout the years, folks like Rich Little, Willard Scott, Dom DeLuise, Ed McMahon, Larry Hagman, and Mr. T dressed up as Santa for various Christmas events with the Reagans. And Willard Scott, who became popular in the 1980s for his job delivering the weather reports on the Today Show, came to the White House as Santa with his special friend Elf.
Have a Merry Christmas!
Boys and
Happy
girls,
holidays!
Let's give Alf a big round of applause and thank him. And let's wish him a happy twangle. Happy twangle. Ready? And Merry Christmas. And if you all will be just a second, Mrs. Reagan and I are going to walk in and get the cookies and the punch ready. And then you hold on a second and you come in with us, okay? And Merry Christmas and God bless you all. What a nice treat.
In our archives, we have thank you letters for each time Willard Scott dressed up as Santa for the White House Diplomatic Corps party. The 1986 letter says, "Well, it's approaching that time again, and as Mrs. Reagan said to you herself, Christmas wouldn't be the Christmas without you as Santa." Ed McMahon as Santa played off his famous saying on The Tonight Show.
He's slow. Do you have any idea?
Who is that?
Here's Santa.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Nancy.
In 1988, comedian Rich Little, a Canadian-American impressionist and voice actor, came to the White House as Santa. The Reagans and Rich Little had a deep friendship. In our archives, we also have this gift from Rich Little to the president, a record album entitled Earl Dowd Presents The First Family Rides Again, which stars Rich Little.
I'll never forget the sketch we did years ago on TV. I was playing Jack Benny as Santa Claus. And Jack, we had this little girl on my knee, and I said, "Gee, what a cute little girl." I said, "What's your name?" She said, "Susan." I said, "Gosh, you're cute. Listen, Susan, do you want to buy some toys?" True Jack Benny. It's very funny. What do you want for Christmas, little boy? Kathleen Turner.
In 1985, Larry Hagman came to the White House as Santa. At the time, he was still playing J.R. Ewing on Dallas, a role in which he was nominated for 2 Emmy Awards and 4 Golden Globe Awards. In our archives, we have this fun gift that a member of the public sent in to President Reagan. It is 2 $1 bills. On one $1 bill is Ronald Reagan, and on the other $1 bill is Larry Hagman.
Yeah. Kiss on the cheek for Santa? Oh.
Yeah. Even President Reagan himself filled in for good old St. Nick one year. President Reagan truly loved Christmas and the Christmas spirit. In 1981, his first year in office, he delivered a Christmas message to the nation on Christmas Eve saying, "Nancy and I are very happy to send our warmest greetings and best wishes to all those who are celebrating Christmas. We join with Americans everywhere in recognizing the sense of renewed hope and comfort this joyous season brings to our nation and the world." And he ended that message with, "Let us resolve to honor this spirit of Christmas and strive to keep it throughout the year." Nancy and I ask you to join us in a prayer that prudence, wisdom, and understanding might descend on the people of all nations, so that during the year ahead we may realize an ancient and wondrous dream, peace on earth and goodwill toward men.
The Christmas spirit of peace, hope, and love is a spirit Americans carry with them all year round everywhere we go. As long as we do, we need never be afraid, because trusting in God is the one sure answer to all the problems we face. Until next week, thanks for listening. God bless you and Merry Christmas.
Thank you for watching.
Don't forget that when you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll be notified every time new videos and podcasts are added to our site, including our Reagan and Friends, Words to Live By, and Reagan Forum podcasts. And don't forget to follow @Ronald Reagan on Facebook and Twitter, as well as @Reagan Foundation on Instagram and YouTube.